My friend Michael effortlessly climbed up the side of his tree. The rope with multiple knots tied on it made his climb easier, and he went all the way up to the top. I had known Michael since about 3rd grade, but I didn't meet him at school. My friend Fred, who I had known since the 2nd grade, introduced us. All 3 of us were at Michael's house, just hanging out. Michael came skittering back down the tree using the rope for leverage, and when he got to the bottom, he handed me the rope, indicating it was my turn. I got about 2 knots up and came tumbling down. I'm done, I thought as I was lying in the dirt. Growing up, I was told that I could not play rough sports because I only had 1 kidney. I took the warnings to heart, mostly because I didn't want to die. That, and when people keep telling you that if you get hit in just the right way, you can die, you become extra cautious. So, I learned to play video games very well, and none of my friends could beat me in fighting. Michael laughed and asked if I was okay, and then he helped me up. I know you can do better than that, he said. I dang near tripped over my clothes while getting up because they were so baggy. It was the style at the time, which I didn't mind because I didn't much care for my body. About that time, Michael's brothers came out and decided to take over the tree activities for the day. It was okay, but for some reason, I held some sort of resentment towards them. I have a competitive nature, and that tree was mocking me. Fred was over on the sidewalk riding his skateboard doing tricks, so we decided to go and join him. I could do an ollie, but even then, I could only do it half the time. I preferred bikes for sure. As it was getting late, Michael headed back inside, and Fred and I headed back to my house. Fred was overweight and had been since I first met him. He was nice to me in 2nd grade, so naturally we became friends. Oddly enough, the year I met him was the year he was held back. 2 years later, in the 4th grade, I was held back by the exact same teacher. She was hard to get along with, for some reason. Now that I think of it, I held a little resentment for her because she took my friend away from me for 2 years. No wonder I didn't do anything she said. Fred would come to my house ever since we were young, and his mom would pick him up after she got home from work. When we got to my house, which was only around the corner from Michael's house, Fred's mom was already there. We said our goodbyes, and I headed inside. One of my best friends, because we knew each other since we were 1 or 2 years old, was Deborah. I was envious of her in multiple ways. 1, I was attracted to her. 2, I wanted to be her. Was my life confusing? Yup. I waved hi to her, and she waved back. Hey, I said. She was busy on the phone or watching YouTube. I didn't know which exactly, but as I was headed to the kitchen, Deborah is, in my imagination, what I would have looked like if I had been born a girl. We had the same hair color, similar eyes, and were about the same height. I warmed up some of Mom's refried beans in a pan so I could make a burrito. Instant food, this was not. I was taken aback by Donald's question. Did he know about my feelings for Deborah? Was it that obvious? I tried to play it cool and shrugged, saying something non-committal like, I don't know, maybe. Donald and the other guys in my group didn't seem to think much of it and went back to discussing the project we were working on. But I couldn't concentrate anymore. I kept replaying the conversation in my head, wondering if Donald was just making small talk or if he actually knew something. The rest of the day passed in a blur. When the final bell rang, I hurried out of the classroom and headed straight home. I didn't even bother stopping by Fred's house, which was on the way. I needed to be alone and think. As soon as I got home, I went to my room and closed the door. I sat on my bed, staring at the wall, trying to make sense of my jumbled thoughts. Why did Donald ask me if I liked a girl? Did he know about my crush on Deborah? Did anyone else know? And why was I so hung up on her in the first place? Was it because I was attracted to her, or because I wanted to be like her? Or maybe it was both. I felt a knot forming in my stomach. I had never talked to anyone about these feelings before, not even my closest friends. The idea of opening up to someone was terrifying. What if they didn't understand? What if they thought I was weird or gross or something? I didn't want to be seen as different or abnormal. I just wanted to fit in. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that trying to suppress my feelings was only making things worse. I couldn't keep pretending that everything was fine when it wasn't. I needed to talk to someone, even if it was scary. Just then, there was a knock on my door. It was my mom. "Hey, kiddo," she said, poking her head in. "How was school?" I shrugged. It was okay. "You seem a little down. Is everything all right?" I hesitated for a moment, then blurted out, "Mom, can I talk to you about something?" "Of course," she said, coming into the room and sitting down next to me. "What's on your mind?" I took a deep breath. It's about feelings. Like I have these feelings for someone, but I don't know if they're normal or not. My mom looked at me with concern. "What kind of feelings?" I paused, trying to find the right words. "Well, it's this girl at school. I really like her, but I don't know if it's just because she's pretty or if there's more to it. And sometimes I wonder if maybe I want to be like her, you know? Like, if I'm supposed to be a girl instead of a boy." My mum's expression softened. "Oh, sweetie, it's normal to have crushes on people, regardless of their gender. And it's also normal to question your identity and who you are. That's all part of growing up." I felt a wave of relief wash over me. It was like a weight had been lifted off my chest. My mom didn't think I was weird or gross or anything like that. She just wanted to help me figure things out. "Thanks, Mom," I said, feeling tears welling up in my eyes. "Anytime, kiddo," she said, giving me a hug. "Just remember that I love you no matter what, okay?" "Okay," I said, feeling a sense of